So we're going to talk about properties of lines. Okay, so if I'm going to compare lines together, okay, or compare two lines to each other, we're going to see how are they the same, how are they different, what kind of properties they have. So if you look at these two equations right here, so y equals 3x minus 1, y equals 2, what can you tell me about these two equations? Do you see anything similar? Do you see anything different? Anything?
One is subtracted.
Okay, so one is a minus 1 and one is a plus 2. Okay, what does this represent? What does the minus 1 and the plus 2 represent? What are these? The y-intercept. So they have a different y-intercept, right? They have different y-intercept? Okay. How about their slopes? Slopes. Okay, so let's graph these because the first thing it says to graph. So where do I start for the first one? I start at -1 and then where do I go? Up 3 over 1, right? Remember, if it doesn't have a denominator, it's over 1. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3 over 1, so it's going to end up right here, right? And if I'm going to try one more time, up 1, 2, 3 over 1. So these are my 3 points. That's enough, right? I don't need more than that because now I can just draw a line. So that's going to be the first one. For the second one, I'm going to use a different color. So where do I start with the second one? I'm just going to erase these just so it doesn't make it too hard to see. Where do I start for the second one? From the positive 2, right? So on the y-axis, I'm going to start at positive 2 because that's my y-intercept, right? And then I'm going to go up 3 over 1. So that's my next one. I have no room to put the second point, but if I want to go the other direction, if I want to go down, right? If I want to go down 3, then which way do I go over? I go over that way, right? Because otherwise it's going to be right here and that's not going to form a line. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go down 3 over 1 here. Okay? So if I'm going to graph this, what do you notice about these two lines? They both have a positive increase, yeah? Do you think they would ever meet? They're like the track of a train, right? Where they're kind of like, they're going to have to stay in the same direction, right? They will never meet, right? Now, let's talk about the slope. What's the slope of each line? 3. What do you notice about the slope of each pair of lines, both in the graph and the equation? So, what do you notice about the slope? They're the same. They have the same slope. And I can say that because they have the same slope, I can see on the graph also that they are two lines that they're never going to meet. We call that, you know what they, okay, they're called parallel lines. Okay, so parallel lines are lines that they would never meet. So we call them, they will never intersect. So they are parallel lines. start graphing the second set. So I have negative 2x plus 1, and I have negative 2x minus 3. So where do I start for the first one? Positive 1 on the y-axis, and which way do I go?
You go down to.
Down 2 over 1. And then I can go down 2 more over 1. How about the second one? Where do I start? What's my y-intercept? Negative 3, right? So my y-intercept is at negative 3.
And then you go down to.
Down 2 over 1. Now I can't fit another point. Can I fit another point if I go up? So if I go up 2, which way should I go? That's right, I should go this way because otherwise it's going to affect my line. Okay? So I'm going to go up 2 over 1 to the left.
This is also parallel, no?
Sorry?
This is also parallel.
These are also parallel lines, yes.
Can you do negative 2x and negative 3 once again? Can you do negative 2x and negative 3 once again?
Yes. So I start at negative 3 because that's my y-intercept. Yes?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have to go down 2 over 1. Okay? So if I go down 2 over 1 from the negative 3, so I'm going to go down 1, 2 over 1 and down this. Okay? If I want to go down 2 over 1 one more time, it won't fit on my graph. So to get another point, I can go up 2. But then this time, because it said negative, right? Instead of going to the right one, I'm going to have to go to the left to account for that negative. Okay? Because think about it this way. If I go up 2 over 1 this way, right? Then my line is going to be like this. Does it make sense that your line is like this? No. That means you've done something wrong. So what I do is I go up 2, and then this time over 1 to the left because of that negative that's causing it. Okay? So now I have that one. Are you okay with that now?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the slope of each of the lines?
Negative
2. And what do you notice about the slopes of each pair of lines?
2. They have this, they
They're
were
parallel. They have the same slope, so they are right. Just gonna answer the in the next question because I'm gonna ask you what word best describe each pair of lines. We're gonna say that they are lines. I misspelled parallel. I misspelled the word. Now, what do you notice about the y-intercept of each line?
What is different?
The y-intercept is different, right? What happens if my y-intercept was the same? So if I had this one, and then my second equation was also the same, was negative 2x plus 1.
Be on top of it.
They will be on top of each other. They're the same line, right? So there will be one, it's the same equation, the same line. Okay, so we notice about the y-intercept of each line, so they are different, right? They're not the same. If they are the same and they have the same y-intercept and the same slope, then we know that they're going to be the same. They're going to overlap. Okay. What do you think about this one? So graph each of the following lines on the same set of axes. So where do I start for the first one? Y equals 1. I start at -3 on the y-axis. And then which way do I go?
You go up 1,
Up 1
over 3.
over 3. So up 1 over 3. So that's where I'm gonna end, right? And I go up 1 over 1, 2, 3. I have another right here. If I was gonna go from here down 1, which way do I go 3? To the left, yeah. So I can have another point here if I want to. Okay? I don't need it, just for you to know that you can do that, okay? All right. Now, how about the second one?
-3.
Start from -3, and which way do I go?
You go up 4,
Up 4 over.
over 1.
Now let's try again. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. And then you see that I'm using different colors to indicate different equations, right? If I don't have different colors, or if you don't have different colors, what you can do is at the end of the equation, of the line, sorry, you can write the equation. So this way, when I'm marking you, I know which equation you're graphing. Okay? So if you don't have different colors, that's what you do. Okay? And you see that what I do is whenever I graph the line, I use different color and I indicate next to the equation what color it is. Okay? You see that's why I put these signs next. All right. Now, what is the slope of each line? So what's the slope of A? What's the slope of A?
1 over 3.
1 over 3. What's the slope of B?
4.
What do you notice about the slopes of each pair of lines? Are they the same? Are they different? What did you notice? They're different. They're not the same, right? What do you notice about the y-intercept of each line?
They're the same.
And you see, because they're the same, both lines are intersecting, right? So they're meeting, they're intersecting at that y-intercept in this case, right? So because they have the same y-intercept, the two lines are intersecting at the y-intercept. steeper, which one is higher, like that goes higher. Compare them for me.
The red one is higher.
The red one's higher because it's steeper. So if you're thinking about stairs, would you want to climb this red stair? No, you would rather climb the blue stair, right? Okay, so this is called the steeper line. Okay, that. Now compare the slope for me. Which one has a bigger slope? 0.3333, which is the blue line, or 4? Which one is bigger? 4 is bigger, right? Because 1/3, that's 0.3333, right? Now, the bigger the slope, the steeper the line. Okay? So the bigger the coefficient of x, which is the slope, so let's just do a quick summary of what we have learned so far. In the equation y equals mx plus b, the m is the coefficient of x, which is what? The slope. Which determines the steepness of the line. Okay? So this is, the m is the slope, which determines the steepness of ignoring the sign on the coefficient of x. So it's positive or negative, we don't care, right? The greater the coefficient, the what? So if you have the coefficient of x, the greater the coefficient of x, the line. The what? The steeper the line, right? So think about it this way. If you have y equals 3x plus 1, and if you have y equals negative 5x plus 1, yes, this is negative, but if you ignore that negative, if you graph it's still going to be steep, right? So it's going to be the steeper the line. So if your line is rising to the right, so rising to the right, that means going like this, has a positive slope, and if it rises up to the left, then it will have a negative slope. What does B determine in the equation? Is the y-intercept. And it determines where the line crosses the y-axis. But our lines have the same slope, but different. Perfect. Okay, now I want you to look at some cues in the classroom, and then look at horizontal line and tell me what is the slope of the horizontal line? 0. Yes. So a horizontal line has a slope of 0, which means the value for the rise or for y are the same, are constant. So let's look at this for a second. So if you're looking at a horizontal line, that's a horizontal line, right? So if I look at the x, no matter where the x is, so this is going to be, sorry, if I'm looking at the points, this is going to be 0, 1. This is going to be 1, 1. If I look here, it's going to be 3, 1, right? What do you notice about the y values? It's the same. Okay? That's why when I do y2 minus y1, right? So 1 minus 1, that's going to give me 0 over 2, which is 0. Okay? If you do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right? So I do 1 minus 1 over 3 minus 1. That's going to be 0 over 2, which is 0. That's why the slope is 0 for horizontal lines. Vertical line has a undefined slope. And that means that the value for x is constant. Undefined is because I can't divide by 0. Okay? So if you look at a vertical line, for example, right, your x values are going to be the same. Okay, so let's say this is going to be -2, 3, and -2, 1. Okay, so you see that your x values are the same. So when I do the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, the bottom is going to be 0. You can't divide by 0. It's impossible. So that's why it becomes an undefined slope. Are you guys okay with this? All right.